You're listening to episode 7 of the Morebegsden. Hello everyone, welcome to episode 7 of the Morebegsden. We're back in 2025 in a season 2. This is a show all about inspiration, trying to inspire others out there, let other people know that as artists, trying to inspire others, keep the creative juices going, and just improve in expressing our feelings and trying to identify ourselves. And today we have, I'm very excited to have Egan Reeve and Louis Egan Cutcheon. Two fantastic budding writers and poets, very ambitious, and they're growing all the time. And they have created a new event about a year old called Litreacha. And Litreacha is a new monthly open mic for queer writers and musicians to share their work and to socialise. It's hosted monthly at Nudes on Levitt's Quay. So and I have Louis here first, and then we're going to talk to Em a little while. So Louis, how are you doing?
Thank you for having me. I'm doing great.
So tell me about Litreacha. What is it?
So as you said, Litreacha is a monthly open mic that we host over in the beautiful Nudes Craft and Cocktail on Levitt's Quay. And it's been going for almost 9 months now.
Fantastic.
And, we welcome queer artists, part of the LGBTQ plus community, from, I guess, all disciplines, mostly writing and spoken word, but also musicians as well.
How's that journey been like? Has it been hard to get a community like that together?
It has been incredible, first of all, but I wouldn't say it's been difficult. In terms of finding an audience, from the very start, we found the community to be super receptive to us, and our events have been packed out in full attendance, pretty much every single one. It just really shows that, there's an appetite for this sort of thing in the city, and there's a lot of talent that deserves to be showcased. So
I definitely felt that. When I went, I felt like I didn't know what to expect. I thought, well, I had my assumptions, of course. I thought it'd be like, I've been to the Underground Loft,
yes,
and I think
fans of the Loft.
Oh, big fans, and big fan here as well.
Uh-huh.
And that one is very like, and we make sure to get the organisers that as well on the show very soon.
Yeah.
So in the Underground Loft, it's more like celebration, louder, up in the, and I thought it'd be a bit like that, but when it came, I found it really calm and soothing.
Yeah, I guess we're doing similar things, but we just have a different vibe in terms of the space and the energy that's in there. I think the Loft can be quite like exciting, and there's a lot of big personalities and exciting stories being told, and Litreacha can be a bit more reserved, maybe a bit more serious, literary, and diverse too. Yeah, that's just how it happens, I guess.
How much is the queer community? What, do you get any feedback from the queer community about it?
We have, yeah. We've had lots of people saying, people who we knew beforehand, and also people that we hadn't met before, responding to us saying what a great time they had at the open mic, and how appreciative they are for it. I think it really means a lot to a lot of people, and people find it quite moving. Which is, it feels like a big responsibility for me.
How so?
Just that, I feel really lucky to be the one behind this, but it's also like, whoa, I'm actually having an impact, and people, are really excited about it.
You're hearing that? You're hearing that from the community?
Big shoes to fill, yeah.
That's really exciting. Did you always want to do that for the queer community, to give something back?
Yeah, but the whole idea for Litreacha came together quite quickly.
Tell us.
It was sort of inspired by the Underground Loft, which I started going to in around like winter 2023, maybe like October, November 2023. Had been going for maybe a couple of months before that, since the very beginning of it, and I really enjoyed it, like from the very start, since I started going to the Loft, and it inspired me to write more and to share my work, and reading it out loud and stuff like this, and seeing what a valuable opportunity it gave me in my own work. I kind of thought, how great would it be if I got to, or if we got to do this for someone else, or for a different group of people. And of course, me and Em, as queer people ourselves, the queer community is something that's we're both very passionate about. So
the joy seemed obvious.
Yeah, we were like, how could we make the Loft better? We'd have to make it gayer, that's,
and make another poetry group to compete against it. Yeah. No better.
No competition.
No better to make two poetry friends better than each other is competition.
Yeah.
I'm only joking.
Never,
There's a lovely family of poetry events popping up very recently, including Underground Loft, Litreacha, which is the fantastic community you've managed to find. Spillane, which has been here kind of like, I think I talked about this in the show before, but Spillane was actually around 2018, 2019, if I'm correct, but it kind of came back from the dead a small bit after lockdown. Yeah. It was very different back then. And of course, Ovale, which has been there for much longer, and there's a few more. There is Ubuntu. There's quite a few, but these are the circles I'm in. But I'm sure that whatever one you find out there, they're totally worthwhile.
Yeah.
And do you work with a lot with Underground Loft? Do you like share audiences, or what's that?
We do, yeah. Cutcheon, who's the host of Underground Loft, he's always makes an effort to come to Litreacha and will read something, and he's always supportive of us and encouraging. I guess any queer readers at the Underground Loft also show up as regular readers at Litreacha, and of course people who are not queer attend the event also. But
I was just going to bring that up.
I mean, as a general rule, we don't like to be too heavy-handed about it, but we would prefer to only have people who identify as queer as readers and performers at the event, and of course straight allies are more than welcome to attend, but we trust that anyone who is coming to read or perform at the event is queer.
Yes.
We never ask outright, and we never ask for proof, or we're not trying to out anyone, but it's just a sort of I think an understanding that we like to have with the community.
Are you trying to speak for a voice in the queer community?
Absolutely, yeah. Just to create a space for queer talent to thrive, and for queer people both in the audience and on the platform.
That's cool.
To feel, at ease, and like they can be themselves, and they can share their experiences through their art. Yeah,
it is a minority, and they have to find where they have to find the community where they can find love. That's what I always look at it as.
And I think it's very important, especially to have dedicated queer spaces in the community, because luckily we live in a generation where it's queer people don't need closed off spaces to be themselves. They can be public about it in the wider world, but there's still a necessity for, not necessity, but it's there's a value to having spaces that put queer people first.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And you feel that's always challenging?
Not exactly. It's just, as I said, it's kind of difficult sometimes, the wording around it or the messaging we want to give, because we don't want anyone to feel excluded, but we do want to prioritize people who are queer. And, it hasn't really been a problem. I think people understand what we're going for.
I think we've worked a lot all around in generations, really, especially this generation, that definitely when I was going to school, I didn't hear the word queer. It was really just emerging back like, I say about 12 years ago now, since I was been in school, and really in a way I would never heard of LGBT or I think we probably passed around rumors of gay, but I think that's about it. But it's come a long way, and it's very fantastic that this community can finally come out and be celebrated.
Yeah.
And looked at themselves as beautiful, which they
Absolutely. Yeah.
And do you think Litreacha is a part of that now?
I would like to think so. I don't think I get to bestow that honour upon myself, but I've heard.
Take it. Was that the intention?
Yeah, that was the hope from the beginning. I don't think we ever expected that it would be as successful as it is now, but we're certainly grateful that it has been.
It's definitely unique in terms of a queer community, because I've been to lots of queer events and they're fantastic. I love them all, but definitely Litreacha, I think, is definitely a separate niche, because as I said, I felt like I just walked into a hug. It's so lovely. Again, as you mentioned before, a lot of events, poetry events, and I think especially queer ones, you don't mind me saying, they can be exciting and celebrationary, and that's fantastic. But it's nice to have a different one, and it can favor some different sorts of people.
Absolutely.
Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah. I think what it is that we like to platform creativity and storytelling just as much as we prioritize queerness, because to me they go hand in hand. And the slogan that I came up with, the sort of unofficial motto of Litreacha that I like to announce at the end of every session is queerness is creative, creativity is queer. So they're kind of one and the same. And it's, we like to, well, for me anyway, I don't want to make it too much about one and not the other, if that makes sense. It's it's not just a queer event, and it's also not just a creative event.
Yes.
It's both at the same time.
It's both. It's symbiosis. One feeds into the other.
Yeah.
And do you notice that in the other events? Do you get any response in the other events like that?
Not really. I think we might be the only ones doing that.
You're the only queer.
Yeah.
You're only queer poetry event
that
in Cork.
Of. Yeah.
That's class. You got your own little niche.
We do. Yeah.
And that's kind of cool. Like each poetry event has attracted its own audience. But I hope they all integrate, because that's how these events keep going, is that we all support each other.
Yeah.
You were performing in the Winter Warmer at the end of the Winter Warmer Festival together with Ubuntu, Underground Loft, Ovale and Spillane. What was that like for you?
Oh, it was great.
Back in 2024,
it was a huge opportunity that I was really grateful for. It, Ovale to me is a very I don't want to say serious, but just a well-established institution that I really respect. And the fact that I was invited by them to perform my work and represent my event was huge.
You did fantastic.
I was really honoured to do that, and I think it went down well.
You did very well.
Yeah,
very well. You even celebrated yourself. You even said
I did.
I'm gay.
Yeah.
You announced it on front of us, and I said, "Go you!" Yes.
Yeah.
Say it to the world.
I made sure I was as gay as possible standing up in front of that crowd, and I don't know if it made people a bit uncomfortable.
Not at all. You didn't make me uncomfortable. I was rooting for you.
Yeah. Like, look at me, I love boys, I love being gay, listen to my gay poems.
And that's what I love that. Always come out with that. You the other side enough of it. Like,
Yeah.
And where do you see Litreacha going next?
Oh, that's a big question. I guess I want to see it grow. Well, it already is, in a way, growing beyond just the open mic, because we've had a few opportunities opening up for us recently. We've been selected as guest editors for a zine called Good Day Cork.
Tell us more about that.
Really cool. The woman behind it, her name's Jo. She's lovely. She's very involved in the creative community, and she loves platforming young people and diverse voices. She's been running the zine for a good couple of years now, and she likes to get different people in as guest editors to sort of put their own spin on the brand and the work and the type of people that get included in the zine. And it all just has a message of sort of uplifting and hopefulness, and also platforming like diverse voices and people from all sorts of different backgrounds. Of course, queer being one of them.
Yeah,
is super important to Jo and to the ethos of Good Day Cork. So I think I think she chose well. Kidding.
When is that out?
So it's every 3 months, I think, a seasonal publication, both online and in print. And I think we're aiming to have the first issue out at the end of March.
Fantastic.
Kind of. Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
And that's
nice.
both you and Em. So yeah, keep a lookout for that, guys.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And do you write about your own queer journey? I
do, and I also don't. I like to say that as a writer, I like to call myself a queer poet at my core, and that everything I write is queer in its own way, whether it's overt or not. I'm very dedicated to the idea of being different and fighting against norms and conventions and cliches in writing. So sometimes that manifests as, queer stories about, gayness, romantic sexual attraction, but also just different ways of seeing and being in the world and exploring my own personhood.
That's what writing is, I think. As I'm beginning to realise, you write for yourself to understand the world and understand yourself.
Yeah, I think we all do, really.
Yeah.
All writers. And again, that's why I say queerness is creative, creativity is queer. Even creative people who are not queer, I think they're doing something that is in itself queer. And that I like to acknowledge that.
Yes, exactly. Do you want to show us some of that work?
I would love to, yeah.
Do you know what you want to show?
Take a second to think. No, I think I know.
Yeah? It doesn't have to be queer. Or could be queer. Could be everywhere.
It is very much.
It could just be you, and that's all we want.
Mm-hmm. So this piece I'm going to read is something I'm still kind of working on. I'm not really sure what the end goal is. It might be a short story or a novella, or might be a longer prose poem. It's not really a poem, but it's also, for prose, it's very poetic, and I have kind of a semi-fleshed out idea of what I want the story and the world to be. So it's not by any means finished, but it's recent, and I wanted to read something fresh to give the most up-to-date impression of my work and my practice. So this is called All Tomorrow's Parties. Love is the ground, and they walk all over it. Their faces are shiny with river water and spit. They walk the streets like a crossword, all corners in connection. When he first arrived, he was lost, but now he's treasure. He lives in pockets and promises. In the city, everybody's doing it. It's the wings of a ladybird, it's the smell in the air like electricity, arched eyebrows, damp fingertips. He crashed their party. A lot of bravery for a young bull. They could tell he had the blood in him. But who in this city doesn't? His body came straight from the shop, and he drove it like he stole it. Out of a stagnant pond of lazy stairs to the sweeping curve of the glowing river, where carnival houses burn in colour and the sirens leave you alone. Spotlights brighter than the sun, actors without script or audience, no protests, only parties. They liked his style, his backward straightforward, his rejection of the old and mockery of the new, a fresh lick of paint and a shit-eating smile. The party looked at him, decided he was good, and he was in it. He could see everywhere boys and girls making shapes, licking hot pink wounds, speakers bursting with glitter, translucent walls. Faces to faces pressed against each other, seeing themselves reflected over and over. Headlights in his direction. Light-headed and heading for nowhere but now. Embracing for impact. The mating call of engines like burnt-out guitars. He gave his training wheels to the skinhead boy with amphibian eyes, and they were the future for the night. Their revolution will not be televised. It runs on a loop and never dies. The city has no entry or exit. No doors or windows, only smoke and mirrors. The kids live for free in a daytime dream, appearing to sleepy agents in devilish, horny nightmares. Their image is spreading like filth, and soon it will start to stink.
Wow, man, that is such an image.
Yeah,
that is
there's
so
a lot going on.
vivid. I like the
there,
way.
yeah.
I hope people heard the street sounds outside while you said that poem. Because
Oh,
it sounded
yes.
like it was in the city.
Is moving. Yeah.
Ah, that was so many emotions.
Mm.
What's that called again?
All Tomorrow's Parties.
What a story!
Yeah.
What a story!
It's yeah, still in the works. It's going to be needs to be much longer. That's, I think right now is a very compact version of a very big expansive idea. So I'm just going to keep mining away at it and see how
That'd be
big
fantastic.
it gets.
Keep that version anyway, because that version has a lot of strengths.
Yeah.
What you have for us next?
This is a poem called Marsh Lads, and I like to describe it as a poem about my three greatest loves, which are Cork City, music, and men. So, yeah, that's it, really.
Go for it. Yeah, I'd love to hear it.
Marsh Lads. Marsh lads are golden lads with ears on poles, with shining heads and blackened souls, drunk with the scent of the sea and the mud, up to our knees in the rippling flood. Blue eyes that shimmer and white teeth that shine, I'm carried away in the currents of time. My heart or my tongue could never pull through, for marsh lads, rugged, straight shot and true. In caverns we gather to suck on the air, churches of night time, angels' white hair. The veil grows thin, but we all get a peek, struck by a sound that touches, then speaks. They play on tight strings with long-fingered hands, and the ring of their drum beats makes me lapse into dance. I fondle the bells on my hips and my wrists. In the darkness for no one, I spin and I twist. On the stage is a curtain and the question is raised, as I inch ever closer with a nowhereward gaze. Could I be a marsh lad, straight shot and true, if my lips know the warmth of a boy just like you? What's a boy to a man, or a wave to the shore? For aren't we all marsh lads, sound to the core? I've known lads like you, from the damp inside out. I've held your soft song in my own screaming mouth. So I rise from the water, my toes touch the earth. I hear rebels in uniform, hot blood and mirth. This marsh is the place where all men become one, to lie down in each other and rot in the sun. This wet soil paves my path right to the end. I'll know it eventually when my body's well spent. But for now, I will love the marsh and its lads, and the songs we sing with black juice in our hands.
Man, that's cool. I guess the marsh is Cork, is it?
Of course, yeah, Corky.
But it's also you as well. You talk about your own sensitivity and your own journey.
Yeah.
That's what I saw anyway. What do you think of that?
I guess the marsh represents Cork City, but it also just like, I don't know, a sort of utopia, queer utopia. I've read about queer utopias a lot, I think.
Litreacha is the queer utopia.
Oh,
if it grows any stronger, that you can call your own little part of Cork.
Yeah. I guess I don't really know. I kind of like the marsh as a place between land and water, or where land and water meet.
Gotcha.
Where nothing is really held down. Everything's kind of watery and murky and what's the
between
word? Like,
between world, is
opaque? Yeah. And something about like decomposition and bodies returning to the earth.
It's also an ecosystem as well. It's full of life.
Yeah, just rich with life, but also death at the same time. I don't know. I've never.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Is that in that? Oh, I guess that is in the poem as well.
In a cyclical way, yeah.
Oh, Louis, thank you so much. I love your work. You tell stories, and your poems are short stories and poems at the same time. Such an honor, and it's great getting to know your poems as well. So yeah, Louis, thank you very much for joining us here in the Morebegsden. You're very inspiring and gentleman to myself and to a lot of people. Ivy Fevier has sent in a song to the Morebegsden. She opened up to the Litreacha open mic when I was there back in December 2024, and it was she was fantastic. And I came straight up to her and said, "Do you want to host a song in the Morebegsden?" And she said yes. She sent in the song Little Spark, and she said, "I wrote this song when I felt like I'd lost myself, lost my fire. This song reminds me to look inside, though it may be small, that spark of hope, resilience, inspiration still burns in me. I just have to kindle it." And when I listened to that song, it was a really long day with work, with personal issues. And when I heard that song, it definitely rekindled something in me. I felt really, really good. It was such a beautiful, beautiful piece. She has a solo gig at Cafe Mayo on March the 7th. And it's a free event at 5 p.m. So definitely go and check her out if you like this song. And I hope it kindles in something new as well. This is Ivy Favier.
From inside me, glowing through the dark, I see it glitter, flashing faintly, just a little spark. Though I feel it dwindle, I won't let it go, no, no. There's a spark to kindle, got to let it grow. Once was blazing, burning brightly, fiercely fueling me. But now it's fading and dimming slightly, makes it hard to see. Though I feel it dwindle, I won't let it go, no, no. There's a spark to kindle, got to let it grow. Spark, keep on glowing, you keep on showing me your light. I've lost you. Now the fire's gone. Then you remind me I've still got you. You keep burning on. Though I feel you dwindle, I won't let you go. No, no, there's a spark to kindle. Got to let it grow. Though I feel it dwindle, I won't let it go. No, no, there's a spark to kindle. Got to let it grow. Let you grow. Let you grow. Let you grow in my heart, little spark.
And now is Ivy there, fantastic musician. I feel rekindled already. Something's burning inside me. It's inspiration, loving it. And I'm back with Egan Reeve. How are you doing? Thank you so much for joining us in the Morebegsden. How are you doing today?
I'm great. Thank you so much for having me. I'm very excited to have a chat.
Yeah, just a chat about you, chat about the queer culture, chat about whatever. Writing.
Absolutely.
And how's that going for you?
Right now I'm in a bit of a slump in terms of my creativity, but you know, everyone gets them. It comes around.
Has it happened before?
Oh, all the time. Yeah. I just go through like weeks or months where I just can't.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what? I've just have to just focus yourself on like other creative sort of pursuits, and then eventually the urge to write will come back, which, you know,
It comes in circles, doesn't
it
it?
comes in circles, and hopefully it'll be back soon.
You burst through it. You
Yes, I'm
you-
gonna come up with something incredible
Oh
once this is over.
But some of your work, all your work actually has been unbelievable. You got a style that is fantastic, and I could see great. When I first heard you perform in Underground Loft, I said this person has potential, and you've really fulfilled all of that and more. How do you want to talk about a bit about that journey?
For sure. Okay, so first of all, I haven't really written for a very long time. I always was creative since I was very young, but there was always other things happening, so I couldn't really concentrate on that creativity, you know. Sometimes when, you know, like if you're just growing up in a lot of turmoil, sometimes you won't have time to put that out there.
Okay.
Well, for me anyway. So then when I reached 18, well, no, it's more like 21, I went to college and I started realizing, oh, I can write. And I realized I really enjoyed it, and other people really did too. Which I'm not gonna lie, it was the other people. I was like, oh, okay, that really spurred me on. Well, people were like, oh, this is good. I was like, oh, I guess I'll keep doing it then. And I never had actually considered reading my work out loud properly until the Underground Loft. I actually think you were there.
Yes.
One of the first times I ever read my poetry out loud.
Hard to believe because you are so much of a natural when you read it. I think maybe you always write in your own voice, maybe?
No, for sure. Yeah. When I write, I need to read it in my head, or I even say it out loud, just to make sure that it sounds like me. You know, I don't want to write something that doesn't feel like authentic to me. I do have a speech impediment.
Okay.
But I don't let it affect me too much. There were years where I wouldn't really speak in public a lot at all because of it, but now I've really come further than I thought I would. It can be quite bad sometimes, but poetry has really helped me to kind of accept that, you know, I deserve to be able to speak in public, and
You have a voice and use it.
yeah, exactly. And I deserve to be able to share what I have written with people, and I found such a great community in that. So I'm very, very happy I got past my original like reservations about reading or speaking, because I wouldn't be here if I still felt that way.
You're doing so well. And now you have a event called Litreacha
Yeah.
which seems to be very busy, to be honest, with lots of different things happening. Louis spoke about how it came to be, but can you tell us actually how you met Louis and what's it from your end point of view?
Okay, so we were actually in UCC at the same time. We were in the same year. So I did English as my undergrad, and he did world languages, and we met when we were both in second year. Now, I actually knew Louis' twin sister before I knew him, and we were both in the English Literature Society together.
Oh, okay.
That's how we knew each other. So I was chairperson, and then Asha was PRO, but then she was vice chairperson.
And Asha's Louis' twin.
Asha is Louis' twin sister, exactly.
Yeah, go on.
And I didn't even realize that Asha had a brother or anything like that. But she does. And she said that her brother might be interested in joining. So I was like, oh my God, yeah, absolutely. And then we just made friends really, really quickly. And then when Louis went to Japan, we kept being friends, even though the distance was massive.
Mm-hmm.
And then when he came back, I started taking him to the poetry events with me. So I'd been going to Underground Loft for a few months. I've been like Sling Slang, Ovale, all great events. And I wanted him to come with me, and he did. And ever since then, we were like, oh, we should make our own kind of little event like this.
What a friendship.
Yeah.
That is really cool. And what do you think of Litreacha?
I think it's great. I'm very proud of it. I'm very proud of both of us and how we have worked together. And I'm so happy with the community and the people that I've met and the work that I've heard. And just, it's something that everyone really looks forward to, Every month, people they book into their diaries, like, I'm going to come to that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, absolutely.
I guess I did as well, actually.
Yeah. People are like, I'm gonna make it this month, and they always like, people come up to me that I don't even really know, and they're like, oh, you're from Litreacha, and I'm like, what?
I know you.
I'm like,
I don't know you.
I'm like, I'm so sorry. I'm like, yes, I am.
That's happened to me as well.
Yeah.
Actually, it's always overwhelming.
It's so funny. It's like, oh, I feel so rude, even though, like, obviously, when you're hosting an event or you're, reading.
Oh, yes.
People are going to remember you, but you might not necessarily remember everyone that's watching you because, you're so overwhelmed in that moment of performing. But I always feel so rude when I don't know people. But I would know the majority of people who do come. But then our Instagram following is quite big too. Well, it's not. It's 800 people.
That's big to me.
But 800 people is a lot more than, I know in real life.
Has 800 people turned up to Litreacha yet?
I think they would be out on the streets. I think I think the doors would burst open. Yes. Burst open. That's the word. Burst open. We have had, I would say, around 50 to 70.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
But they were outside on the street. Like, they were peeking in through the front windows.
That happened.
Yeah, they were peeking in through the front windows.
Way.
I'm like, they couldn't really see anything. Like, it's an event where people read and sing, so...
I'm getting a weird image in my head. This just sounds like a fairy tale.
Yeah, no, I know. Because there's pictures of it where, like, the windows are very big, so people were outside. They were smoking out there, obviously, but they were peeking in. But, like, even if they came in, like, people have brought pillows. They can sit on the floor because there just aren't enough seats. Now, that was one, I think that was in August, that one. So, obviously, like, everyone was in it, we haven't had that big attendance since then, which is probably for the best because, like, it's, you don't want people out in the cold.
No, that's fair. But, like, you have, like, a story there that's going to be timeless,
Yeah, it's really, really amazing.
You're going to be telling that in the history books of Litreacha, like.
For sure.
What was that? Was that after the opening or? No,
that was the third, I think. The third was the biggest.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's cool. But there was a decent crowd when I was there as well. Nearly every chair was nearly filled at the front of the pub. And such a warm community of writers.
Completely.
And I just want to mention as well, I noticed as well there was the autism community there as well.
For sure.
It's very exciting that if you don't mind me putting it this way, but correct me, the queer community kind of adopted the autism community in some ways. They've integrated and intertwined that two minorities have found a way of just, you know, making love and making friends and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
Like in my time, there was nothing like that. I have autism myself, and there was nothing like that there for me to integrate. I was about 28, 27 when I first went to Ovale, and I found my pack, and I definitely grew from that. But I'm very exciting that people that are younger than me that are also in the autism spectrum and queer themselves as well, maybe.
Yeah.
But they have a outlet that they can socialize and grow and make friends.
Absolutely.
What's your response to that?
I'm autistic as well, so
Hey,
hello.
Person from the same planet.
Here we are. I think a lot of people just think that I'm really like deadpan and kind of like mean, but I'm not. I'm autistic. So yeah, I'm autistic as well. I think there is a huge overlap between the autistic and the queer community in general.
I think so too. It took me ages to realize that because I didn't know much about queer as time went on. I'm from a different generation.
Of course.
Sure. So I had to learn about it, and that's very exciting. So go on. Yes, I interrupted you.
No, don't worry. I think there's a huge overlap, like a lot of between neurodivergence and being queer. Because most of my friends would have some form of ADHD or autism or, you know, something. They wouldn't be neurotypical people. And I think that's beautiful. And I think it's great when neurodivergent people who might not necessarily identify as queer, you know, they come to the events anyway and they make friends. And I think, you know, I really want it to be a comfortable and like accessible space for everybody.
Yeah.
I think that, there have been a lot of autistic people who feel really comfortable in the space.
Yeah.
So I'm really happy about that.
People were knitting there when I first came in.
People were knitting. I actually don't think the person who was knitting is autistic.
Oh, I didn't mean like that. I didn't mean like that.
That's so funny.
I meant how calming the atmosphere is.
Exactly.
That people just take out.
No, don't worry. I'm joking with you. That's
It's funny. It's funny.
That's actually a really close friend of mine. So
there was more than one knitting.
There were so many people doing various crafts and stuff, which I think is just the most special thing, to feel comfortable, to truly be yourself. And it's the same with the writers group that Louis has been hosting.
Tell me about that, actually, because Louis didn't mention that.
The one that I went to, it was just a really lovely, calm environment. Like, there was no pressure to write, you know, despite it being a writer's group, or to read. Like, just create whatever you want, just be there. There's a nice chill time to hang out with other people who come to Litreacha, where the focus isn't necessarily on performing, but just kind of being there and kind of creating.
That's cool. That's cool.
And it's also not as late in the evening as Litreacha is, which is good, because I know some people wouldn't feel comfortable being out.
What time is it?
It's from 6 till 8.
Fantastic.
Whereas Litreacha is from like 8 till 10:30.
And that's Thursday, isn't it?
It's on Thursdays.
So yeah, the writers group that Louis is running, there's just a off branch of Litreacha is from 6
to 8 every second Thursday. So check our Instagram if you're interested in coming. Just to anyone who's listening.
Up that 800 numbers.
Up the 800. We need to get to 1,000 ASAP, or else
Pack out that
pack out the
nudes.
We're gonna fill upstairs and downstairs.
That will be
cool. They won't be able to hear or see upstairs.
Broadcasting out there. Big screen going to be installed outside nudes and such.
Yeah, it's going to be like one of those festivals where, you know, when you're too far back and you can't see them playing, but they have the big screen with the guy on it. It's like, you know what I'm talking about?
I want that at the poetry event, the big screen. Yeah,
the big screen. And you kind of feel okay. Well, I always feel okay about it, because I'm like, oh, I can see him, it's fine. But then the people that I'm with, they're always like, no, we need to see the real him, we need to go further ahead. I'm like, no, we can see him on the screen. Everything's okay. We can hear him. Or her. I don't know.
Or them. All of them.
Listen, it's me and I'm a student of them. So, yeah, so Yeah, that's what we're aiming for with Litreacha.
That is incredible. Bigger and bigger, bigger and better.
Just outside on the quay. It'd be projected onto the water. I don't
Oh
know.
my god, that would be incredible. And like beam lights poking out.
Yeah, we're really
High ambitions.
high ambitions.
It's all being recorded here and it's being broadcasted live.
Yeah, so
out there.
Yeah, so you can expect that
Watch
from
out,
us
watch
at
out.
some point in the future.
The queers are here and the queers are to stay.
Queers are here to stay.
And queers are creative. Very much.
Creativity is queer.
Creativity is queer, and that's such a great quote. And do you write about your career life? What do you write about usually?
I would say queerness is sort of very much like a essential part of who I am, to the point where even if I'm not necessarily writing about queerness, all my writing is queer. But I would also say that I don't super reference my queerness explicitly in a lot of my stuff, but people get the point. And I'm quite, I don't, this is obviously a strange thing to say, but I'm quite like a obviously queer person. Like when people meet me, like people usually don't think I'm straight. Great.
Oh, okay.
So I think when I'm reading, people hopefully get the vibe that I'm queer. But I mostly write about actually no, I do write a lot about gender, but gender isn't explicitly tied to being queer.
No,
either.
No, it's not. Gender.
Straight people can have genders.
Well,
Everyone has one.
If you look at it one way, people who are heterosexual always write about love, always write about trying to work out who they are and what they are. And you know what? There's no difference between people who are also bisexual, homosexual, queer, or whatever you identify yourself. You're just trying to work out who you are and what you are, and writing can do that.
And writing about identity and place in the world, those are some things that I really enjoy to write about. And mental illness, mental health, and mental space are also massive things for me.
Mm-hmm.
I also like to write about biblical things. Not because I'm very religious, I just think it's so interesting.
Yeah.
So a lot of what I write will be gender connected to religion. What is that thing?
That's Maureen's clock. That means it's 3 o'clock.
Oh wow, that's special.
Yeah, I know, right? It's just trying to announce itself to the world. It's trying to announce
Oh my god, that's so cool.
Yeah, it's just trying to tell us something. That's a queer as well up in the clock.
Super that little bird.
Let it out.
That little bird is a proud member of the community. Oh, he's going back in.
He's gone back in. That's
Goodbye,
all.
sir.
That's all he needed to say. That's all he needed
He
to say.
just needed to get involved for a moment or two, and he did.
What were you saying anyway? You said that you write about religion as well.
Religion.
What's that about?
I think I don't know if I am a religious person so much as that I'm fixated on certain aspects of culture and religion. I just think that's something that I'm very interested in. Sometimes I don't know if my interests are sincere or just extreme curiosity. So I very well I may be very religious. I don't know. I think I might be very curious about religion too, but there's such an overlap between those two things.
Maybe it's familiar to all of us in some ways. Well, you brought up with it in some ways, yeah.
Yeah. I wasn't really raised super Catholic, but my family would be. It's a Irish family. Most of them are Catholic, or a lot of them are Catholic.
So there you just talk about your roots and where you come from and where you're going. You don't have a choice of our roots, but we have a choice of where we're going.
Yeah.
And sometimes you can write about both.
And that is it. And a lot poems about identity, you're bound to just grasp everything, and everything is relevant to identity.
Yes.
Really.
I'm trying to explore that. Do you want to tell us some of your poems, some of your identity?
Oh, okay. 1 second. This is one that I wrote a few months ago when I was hosting the Underground Loft. I just kind of wanted to write something short so that I could read it because I didn't want to be so stressed, you know? So I wrote this in like half an hour, but now it's actually one of my favorite poems I've written recently. It sort of has the religious aspect to it. It's called Gash.
Gash.
So I'll go, if that's okay.
I want to hear it.
Okay.
Please read it out. I'm sure we want to hear
It's
it.
a method of entering or exiting. A slit in your side, pounding in your chest, a weight on your shoulders, bugs in your head. I am 33 and sitting in my kitchen. I am sitting in my chair. I am experiencing visions where I take a journey, make a wound, a gash to dig my fingers through, a place to spread, to bear more gut, to see more flesh, more pooling blood, niche to scratch, rash to caress. We are breaking skin like spider webs, yes. It's a sort of straight down, sort of drag back. They lose all integrity once they're in my grasp. They are sagging. They are sinking, sticking to other men, other mothers, sisters, saints, further incarnations of Julian. She is not formed from any man's rib, having been born too late. She seeks the right of way, and she seeks the right to spend a bit of time learning to paddle, lingering in the shallows by the sun of God's spine. I would die all over again for you. I would suffer through the pain, find pleasure in it if I knew that me enduring agony would ensure that you were safe. I am the last great lover as far as biblical manhood goes. This isn't easy, but my death now proves you aren't alone. This man needs stitches. Yes, I see the gape. I see tugging threads of human insides holding massive weight. What you see is real. Where you went is further than even I can say. Peer into the slit. Learn from Eve's mistakes. We are eye to eye, reflecting streaming tears that wet our face. But we are the lucky ones to have his belief, to keep this faith.
That was class. You fell right into that. At the start, you're like, well, at the start, I thought you were reading out definition, but then you went swoop into the poem. That was really cool. Oh, and I love hearing it as well. In a space that's not, it's interesting when you read it out in like a podcast setting or an audience setting, and hearing it here. I'm hearing every single word of it now in a different way than I hear in the audience. When in an open mic setting. For sure.
I've actually only read that one twice in public, so this is the third
time
ever reading of it.
Third time on the Den, on the Morebegsden, on this podcast. What an honor.
So I just thought I kind of linked it into the stuff I was talking about previously, about religion and stuff. I was like, I'll just read one of those. I
heard some of the themes in there, right? But I think you made them your own. It was talking about you, and very, it's like twisting the definition of what a gash is and in and out and stuff like that. Words stood out there. Do you want to read out a second one for us?
I would love to. Just give me 1 second to find one, though. Could I do my one that's kind of like a song? You've heard that one, right?
I think so. Go on.
Would it be okay?
Yeah.
This is called it doesn't really have a name yet, but I've called it Closing Statement. I've called it Actual Events. I've called it lots of things. I've been stealing sounds for a while now. I've been paying for them when I can. Doesn't change at all the fact that I am still her mother, and her mother's shifting form creeps toward the image of a man. Bad luck. Not 3 injections in, I guess we're leaving long-time lovers, teaching ourselves how to swim through all the viscous, the kind that leaks and covers skin and slips and slides and remains temporary. The body fades, it melts away, it twists and turns and leaves a cast of someone else's face. I've been waking up at 2 a.m., Most nights won't call them mornings because nothing's started yet and it's still so dark outside. I've taken to drinking a pint of water before I go to bed so that I can blame my bladder and not the phantoms in my head, the dreams that leave my stomach sinking but no memory in my brain of the actual events that caused the turmoil. So at 2:15 or so, after a while of procrastination, I will make my way downstairs and stand on freezing kitchen tiles so cold it almost seems wet, but the grit of crumbs tells otherwise. I can't recall the last time someone washed these floors. Underneath the ground it keeps its ears, or so I've heard, and it listens to the pacing pitter-patter of my feet. Growing anxious, defines itself by recognizing patterns in my tread, and as the hours pass this might be all it senses. If I sleep through the night, that absence settles in its chest and steals its breath right there. That's my dependent, just a face without a skull living underneath my home, just a song without a key, a body without bones, a friend without a meeting place, a lover without hands, a fuck that ends with no goodbyes, leaves without a plan. Usually I'll let my body stay still in the quiet, inspect myself in the full-length mirror that rests at a slope outside the bathroom door. I am pinching my soft parts, lifting them up, letting them fall, bending each leg at the knee to check for bites, feeling familiar disappointment but relief when I discover my skin to be unblemished. Work on surpassing apathy, strive for pure adoration, question whether anyone thinks of the roundness of my thighs apart from whoever controls these brains of mine during this haze-filled hour. And then I'll piss, sit on the toilet, empty-bladdered, empty-minded, only air between my body and the waist that woke me up, my underwear at my knees and my feet tucked back, listening for scuttle, sighs, anything, swear I'm the loneliest I've been my entire life, conveniently forget I said the same last night. Then at 2:45 I look into another mirror, the one that's on the cabinet that hangs above my sink, and if necessity declares, and it seldom does not, I pick away the skin where my forehead and hairline meet. I pick away the skin in chunks as big as my pinky fingernail until my face begins to bleed, until the area is sore and pink with the ugly glistening wet of new healing. And then, after who knows how long of dream state sanctioned self-mutilation, I return upstairs, switch on my bedroom light, lay on top of all the bedsheets keeping arms right by my side, count the cracks in the ceiling, follow all the little tributaries, the spreading streaks of structural damage, lose count, try again, fail, become overwhelmed with fatigue, switch off the lights so the threat of collapse is no longer visible to the naked eye, calm my buzzing nerves, get underneath the covers and fall asleep.
Oh, and that is so cool. What a rocking poem. I was thinking there that you have a jump of the Pillow Queens on you, and that definitely sounds like the Pillow Queens to me. What a rocking piece. Louis, thank you so much for joining me in the Morebegsden. I have something to show you guys, actually, and I showed you a little bit earlier as well. I'm going to show it here on the stream as well. It'll be in the link below the photograph. This is a photograph of a costume party held in the Institute of Sexual Research in Germany. The date is unknown, but it's probably from the 1910s and the 1920s, and it was just taken in Weimar, or what was then Weimar, but now it's Germany. And on the right, with the glasses, is Magnus Hirschfeld, excuse my German, who lived from 1868 to 1935, and he's holding hands with his partner. He's a German physicist, sexologist, and LGBTQ advocate, and he's outspoken for the sexual minorities. I love this picture, this photograph so much because I feel these people, I know these people, they look so familiar. I feel like this is a time capsule as well as looking into future. Because if you don't mind me saying, I see Litreacha here. I see people who are familiar to me. What do you think of the photograph?
I think it's an amazing picture, and I am so flattered. I'm so happy that you see that in Litreacha and Litreacha in that, because that's exactly the kind of thing that we were striving to achieve. It's a beautiful photograph, and it really just shows, like as you said earlier to us, that queer people have always been here and they will always be here. Exactly,
and whenever changes in the world, in and out of our control, the queer community is going nowhere, and changes happen, but the queer community